I think we'll go ahead and get started. See a couple people here. Thanks for joining us. This is a co-hosted webinar with Square9 and Century. It's elevating efficiency, the role of AI in accounts payable automation. My name is Nick Vergara. I'm the senior digital marketing specialist here at Square9, and I'll be emceeing today's event. We're joined today by Russ over at Century and Ron from Square9. Ron is going to run today's presentation. He's our regional sales director, and he'll be guiding us through this presentation. We do have time at the end for QA, so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And there's also a Q&A button as well. You can put those and we'll answer them near the end. And we are also recording this, and I believe Century will share that recording with everyone after the webinar. So with all that, I'll hand it over to Ron.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Just want to take you through who we are. Just have a few slide decks. And so basically, Square9 is a software developer that builds AI-driven intelligent document and information management platforms. It takes the paper out of work, basically, and makes things easier to get done. So we partner with Century Business Technologies. They're based out of Topeka, Kansas, that can provide you with a local and regional expertise in our software. And with me today, I have Russ Kreminga, who's the Director of Technology Services at Century Business Technology.
Good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody attending this morning. And as Ron mentioned, we are an elite partner with Square9 and the resources that they provide. We've been partners with them for nearly 10 years. Myself, I have about a little over 22 years experience in the industry and have worked with the Square9 platform in multiple areas across the country since 2007. So we're really glad that everybody's attending today. I think there's some good information and great resources that are available from this platform. So encourage people to ask questions, and we'll follow up with you when we get done. So I'll toss back to Ron.
Thank you, Russ. Okay, so again, who we are, we build digital twins of your current business processes through a graphical workflow for things like vendor invoices, HR. So we can cover various departments. Today, we're focusing on the accounts payable and the role of artificial intelligence in that process. So, and we take the paper out of work, right? So how we do that, we have four main tools that we provide our customers, right? It starts off with document capture automation. That's basically your one-stop processing for capturing documents that can be scanned in. We can monitor email addresses. We can capture documents electronically from a folder on the network, or from from a portal on the internet. So many ways to capture the documents. And then what we do is we pull the high-value data off of those documents, and then be able to not only use that data to store documents in our repository, but we can share that data with line of business applications. And then to put documents into motion, we have our business process management engine or workflow engine. So that could be used for things like an approval process, document retention scheduling, notifications. And then to store the documents, we have our document management system where we securely store, manage, and we call that global search. So hence the name global search. We give you easy ways to find those documents within seconds. And then it doesn't stop there. With our web forms management, we can further digitize your paper-based processes by eliminating those paper forms or PDF fillable forms that do nothing. So just makes the overall process, business operations more efficient and effective. So we're, constantly getting recognition from our customers on third-party review sites like G2.com, Capterra, Trust Radius, and these are just a few of the awards that we've recently won through these sites. So our agenda today is we're going to go over the old way of doing things in the accounts payable process, discuss, what changes you can make to improve the operation, right? And then introduce you to what we call Transform AI, our AI-driven document processing engine. And then we'll get into a live product demonstration. And then, as Nick said, we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. So the old way of doing things, if you took the step to, the first step in digital transformation, which is basically using traditional OCR to capture those documents, which is a good first step, and that's the way we used to do it. But there is a higher implementation cost there due to the fact that you have to use templates, right? So you have to, for a standard vendor invoice, for example, you have to make a template to pull the data off because every invoice is different, right? So we have to build templates. And then when you have, 400 or so vendors, that's 400 templates that need to be created to be able to extract that data off the page, right? And then onboarding new vendors gets challenging because, hey, you got to create a template for that. And then, manual data entry or paper-based processes, those are very time-consuming, error-prone, and not very cost-effective. Studies have shown that the average cost to process a vendor invoice in, manual paper-driven process is anywhere from $12 an invoice to $20 an invoice. So if you're getting, 500 or 1,000 invoices a month, that can add up. So, how you address automation in your AP process is typically subject to your appetite for change, right? You can simply start off with, capture and storage, basically eliminating the cost associated with the filing into file cabinets or into, scanning the document into Windows file folders. So this we call scan, store, retrieve is a common word for that. But it gives you digital access anywhere, anytime. Then we can get into the next one, invoice approval routing. This became very popular after the pandemic era, where you have a hybrid work environment, right? So you may have some people working from home, some people working from the office, some people out in the field. So we can certainly take that process and make it digital with anytime, anywhere access. And this will allow you to take advantage, the approval process to be much faster and take advantage of some of the early pay discounts and avoiding the late fees. So then to take it a step further, we can also add in some workflow capabilities for things like automated three-way matching. So matching that invoice to a purchase order and a packing slip. And then, to extend the value of your investment, you can also add on some other AP focused features like a purchase requisitions, or if you don't have a PO generating system right now, we can certainly provide, a purchase requisition with that generates a purchase order document, if you will. And then also managing your vendor W-9s and tax documents to be in compliance, right? So we'll give you some easy ways to have those vendors send you their W-9s. And then the last one here, sharing data with financial applications. This is where the real return on investment The number one time-consuming part of the AP process is data entry into an accounting system or ERP system. So we offer integration. These are just a few of the popular integrations that we have out there, from QuickBooks to Sage to Infor. Century Business Technologies actually wrote an integration with AgTrax, which is a popular agriculture ERP system. So so that's where you can really take advantage of automation and cut down on some manual data entry or eliminate it altogether. So Transform AI. In late 2022, Square 9 introduced a new approach to solving capture requirements. We talked about those template-based capture. We refer to this as Transform AI, which, as the name implies, we're leveraging the power of invoice intelligence rather than building templates for extraction of invoice data. So this also, includes an automated interrogation of the document, right, of the invoice document, where we can pull off all of the common fields. These are just a list of a few of them here, but we take a look at the document and we can pull off the data anywhere on the page that's necessary. We can also work with line item extraction. So we can also extract all of the line item detail data if you're doing things like line item GL coding. And we can offer an easy way to do the line item GL coding as well. So machine learning is an optional function with our software, and what that does is it utilizes the AI engine to attempt to pull the vendor name off of the invoice. You've probably seen, if you work with vendor invoices a lot, then you'll see that the vendor name field or the vendor name on the invoice is typically a graphic, for example. So, take this graphic up here at the top right of the page, Century Business Technologies, for example. Let's say in your accounting system, it's basically Century Business Technologies, but the AI engine picked up Century. Well, machine learning can then give the opportunity to correct or validate that vendor name against your vendor list in your accounting software. And we'll show you a little bit about that in a little bit. So what that does is that really, the tools that we discussed today, basically this, the standard way. This is a standard QuickBooks project, for example. The old way, using templates, the project would run about 10 to 12 days. With our new, AI-driven data extraction, with a W-9 process and a purchase requisition process, we can get that to 3 to 5 days. So, this means, quicker delivery and lower initial investment through the reduction of the professional services, right? So, okay, so let's get into a live demonstration here. So what we'll be showing you today is creating a purchase requisition, and then we'll show you about invoice capture with Transform AI. We'll talk about the digital approval routing, and then validating the data integrity, as well as showing you how we create a keyless transaction in your ERP or accounting system. All right. So what I have on the screen now is it's in our what we call our Global Forms software, which is a web forms builder that and this is an example of a purchase request. So I have, fields over here that I can auto populate. I also have for my vendor list, I can have a drop down or type ahead here, right? So if I know Marshall Amplification's my vendor, we tie this list once again back to your accounting system or your ERP system and pull that vendor list over. So I can fill out this information. I can upload an attachment. So maybe that's a sales order from my vendor. And then I can go ahead and fill out the information, about what I want to purchase. Once again, we have, GL codes. We can pull those from your ERP or accounting system, right? So, and if I do the put in the unit cost, it automatically does the math for me. And then I can put in any notes and then select who needs to approve this. So once I submit this, now this purchase request goes to the approver, who gets an email with a hyperlink. Then they can then go in and approve that purchase requisition. Once it's approved, then it creates the actual purchase order and is stored into my system here. So let's see here. There we go. So once the purchase requisition is approved and signed off on, you get a PDF copy of it with signatures and dates, and you're good to go. So now you have a PO in our system to match with, right? So that's an example of a purchase request process, right? So now I'm going to go over here to what we call our Global Capture Batch Manager. And Global Capture is our software that automates the capture process of documents. So on my screen, I have some invoices that I sent through our Transform AI engine, and it automatically pulls things off of the invoice. And I just have a few, header fields here, like the vendor name, the invoice number, the date, the amount. And over here, we have some, more line item detailed information. So if I come here, and I stopped these on purpose just to show you what the step would look like for the vendor learning. So now I have the this invoice from Marshall, and it's picked up all of my header information. It's picked up my invoice number, picked up my PO number, picked up the amount down here at the bottom. And then one of the things that you'll see is now I can picked up Marshall here, but now I can train the system to use my my vendor list that I've capturing from my accounting system. So now, once I have this vendor name correct, all the data looks correct. I'm also pulling the line item detail off the page as well. So I've got my line item information, and then I can go from there. So once everything looks good, I can go ahead and say learn vendor. And now every time I get an invoice from Marshall Amplification, then it changes the vendor name and it'll use Marshall Amplification USA now. So, so now that document will leave my queue and I can go on to some other documents here, right? So the So let's take this Cintas, for example. So now this is an example of a, we processed both PO-based invoices and non-PO-based invoices. So in this example, I have a non-PO-based invoice. And this one has a sort of a graphic as the vendor name field here, right? Now I probably picked it up from this type text, which is good, but what's in my ERP or accounting system is Cintas with the vendor code as well. So that's what I want to carry through once I process this invoice. So now I can save, learn vendor, and the Cintas. Next time I get an invoice from Cintas. Now, did catch something here. So in the quantity fields and the line item information, it got one each. And I just want to change that to, now I can save and release that to global search. So now that Cintas invoice will leave my queue. So what happens next is now we can talk about the vendor approval process and three-way matching, right? So here are, this is global search. This is our repository, and this is where I can easily find documents and work with my documents as they're going through either an approval process or a three-way match process. And I'm logged in as the accounts payable user, right? So here is the invoices that I received. Notice that I already had on this Marshall amplification invoice, I already had a purchase order and a packing slip, and I received the invoice. So now this invoice has been successfully matched. So that's how the automated matching process can happen. So now that this is has a status of fully matched, now I can go ahead and create that payable into my ERP system or accounting software. All right. So once I create that payable, now this will leave my queue. And now I have my under my completed documents and completed invoices. Now I have that Marshall amplification invoice, right? So now for non-PO based invoices, so on the Cintas, this is going to be in my tab. This is a tab view. So as you can see, I have a tab view of, where these invoices are in the process, right? So, a new invoice, it's in process, or this one in particular is awaiting an approver assignment. So from here, if I open up the Cintas invoice that we processed earlier, so now I can go ahead and assign who needs to approve this non-PO based invoice, right? So I'm going to say, hey, Keller's going to approve that. Oh. And then I'll go ahead and save that. So now that's invoices awaiting. And I can go ahead and send that for the approver, to that approver. So now that's left my approver assignment. Now this is should be pending approval. Excuse me. So it'll move over here in a second. There it is. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and log out of here. So what will happen now is that A. Keller approver will receive an email with a hyperlink to that document, right? So the email looks something like this. So they can easily, if they're on the road or in the field or working from home, they can easily click on this hyperlink and it'll take them directly to that document that they need to approve. Now, this works well if the approver is only getting maybe, a few a day or, once in a while they're needing to approve invoices. But if we can also create a queue for this approver. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as A. Keller as the approver. So now I have a queue where I can go ahead and invoices awaiting my approval. And there's that Cintas invoice. So now invoices awaiting your approval and coding. So now I can go ahead and look through this document. If I wanted to see the documents related to this, I can hit this button here and my invoice and packing slip would come up. Or I can also do my GL coding down here if I wanted to. So if I wanted to, do assign this to certain GL codes, I can do that as well. So, and then once everything looks good, they can go ahead and approve that. My apologies here. I don't know why the weather's coming up, but I want to get rid of it. There we go. No, I do not want you. There we go. All right. So now notice that invoice approval has left my queue. So let me come back here to my accounts payable. So now I'm logged back in as the accounts payable user. And now that Cintas invoice is ready to be pushed to your ERP or accounting software. So I can go ahead and create that payable into a keyless payable into the system. So now we get this little handy message up here that tells us that everything looks great. Go ahead and create the payable. And now this will move to our completed tab. Okay. So that's how we can easily work with documents. I can also, we can also, add the W-9 and the purchase requisition process. And with that, that kind of concludes our demonstration part. And now we'd like to open it up to questions. Morgan, do approvers need to have a license to global search to approve invoices? Will they need to sign in to approve invoices? Yes, they would need a user license to global search to be able to do that.
That they do need a license. So it's a different question.
Okay. If we don't have, let's see, yeah, Russ is going to type the answer for you. I don't see any more questions in the Q&A.
And Ron, hey, just to clarify, even though in order to log into Square 9, they have to have a license, but if you're sending someone the link to access a document to be approved, it does not consume a license when they click on that link.
It does when they click on the link, it'll open up in the global search viewer, which is a browser-based application, okay. And it will take up a license then.
Okay, that's the part we had to clarify. We needed to clarify. So
yeah, okay. Carrie Mead had a question. Do you have integrations with Deltek? Yes, Deltek is a SQL-based application, I believe. And we have several ways that we can integrate with Deltek. So we can pull lists from Deltek, and we can also push the data in many formats. That could be a CSV, a database that that Deltek is monitoring, and it really depends on the Deltek side if it can automatically pull that information in and create the transaction. Okay. All right, well, give it a few more minutes here, or another minute or so for some more, if there's any more questions. And then we are good to go. All right, well, hey, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope you got some out of this on how we can use artificial intelligence in the accounts payable process, how we can further streamline that process to make it more efficient and take the paper out of work. So with that, thank you very much.
Yep, and thank you everybody for attending. If you have follow-up questions or need some more information, I know this was probably about a 30,000 foot view of what one simple part of this is. It's a lot more robust, and it has a lot more capabilities that were not discussed in this demo, being a short demo. So we will follow up and make sure that all of your questions get answered. And if you need some detailed information or to set up a individual, more detailed demo for your application or your organization, we can do that as well. So we appreciate everybody attending today.